Come, Lord Jesus, come to my life. Come, Lord Jesus, come, fill my heart. Bring your light to my day, bring your hope to my night. Come, Lord Jesus, come to my life. Come, Lord Jesus, come to our lives. Come, Lord Jesus, come, fill our hearts. Bring your light to our days, bring your hope to our nights. Come, Lord Jesus, come to our lives.
My name is Walter Piatek, and I've been a parishioner since 1928. That's a long time, 89 years. The first thing I remember is like just about everybody else. It was a huge building, many pictures, and everything was so really nice. And kind of scary at first when you're real small, but it is the most beautiful church in the diocese. I say that to everybody. I think the old altar, the new altar is nice, but the old altar was a little larger than this one. It had sort of a steeple on there, and that's the first thing I think I noticed. Went to first grade in 1935, and we had a Sister Desiderata, was around St. Joe's for a long time, and that was 1935. And my sister Vanda, who was still living, took me to the first grade, and she was in the 8th grade at that time. So it was an experience starting school, and yeah, it was very good. I was born on Norris Street, 1607. And we made a lot of moves in our family. My pop traded houses on Norris Street with my Chotka Pilars on Van Hook Street. And from Van Hook Street, we went to Sheridan Street, and from Sheridan Street to Thurman Street, and from Thurman Street back Jackson Street. It was like we were like Tsigane, you know, moving all the time. But it was a great neighborhood, the best. Well, in our neighborhood here was very Polish. In some neighborhoods it was like you might think you're in Krakow or Warsaw, and you know, Polish was the language, but every once in a while you'd get a straggler here and there, but the neighborhoods were probably 90% Polish in the Whitman Park section. My father and mother talked broken English, and we'd laugh at them. They would chop up some words, and then Pop would like give us a little curse word back, you know, or smack in the mouth if we made too much fun of them. But yeah, a lot of people they spoke English and Polish, but the Polish people that came here, they would go to naturalization classes at the Polish American Citizens Club. At that time, it was on Mount Ephraim Avenue, where Banash has the 5 and 10. That was the old club. And most of the men, they would go to naturalization classes there. My father did, and helped them towards the citizenship. The streets were very clean. The neighborhoods were very clean. You know, we see everybody sweeping the pavements and porches, and springtime they would tidy up the houses, painting them nicely, and it was very nice, very clean. At that time, back in the 30s, not too many cars, and yes, it was nice. Streets were nice. The neighborhood was beautiful. Beautiful. We used to sit on Mount Ephraim Avenue and say, "Hey, here comes a car," and we would guess it. You know, guess it's a Ford, a Chevy, or a Dodge, or Plymouth, or Packard. Like Monsignor's Packard was 1936, and that was a big car at that time. They started in the 40s. They started to redo the church, because it was like the 50th anniversary. Well, I guess it was 1943, 1944 at that time. And I remember Mr. forgot the guy's name, but he lived across the street here where Washagas lived, and he did all the staining and the painting here, and we used to come and look, and it was like scaffolding all over. It was a sight to see, and it was very nice. And they redid the Balaski here, the altar rails. The altar, they took the steeple off, but it's still, like I say, the most beautiful church in the diocese. So I went from the first grade to the 9th grade, and that was 1944, and that was as far as we went in them days. Later on, I think 2 years later, Monsignor Strensky brought Lambert's candy store across the street on 10th and Liberty, and there was a grocery store. I don't know, it was Bieratsky's or somebody's on the Z. They had a grocery store. He bought that, and he made that a 10th grade, but I was out of here by that time in 1944. In fact, where we have the chapel, when we were in the 9th grade was academic and commercial. Commercial class was where the historic room is, and academic class was where they have the Christmas thing, the carosella, and where the chapel is, that was a library, and where our meeting room is, that was a science room. So yeah, at 1944, that was the end, and we had to go to either Camden Catholic, Camden Higher, Vocational. I went to Camden Vocational from here. Good 9 years. I remember my best friend was Bruno Popschutzky. He was like the boss of the altar boys, and he was also boss of the safeties. He was my best friend, and Joe Varda, Walter Masłowski, Eddie Szychulski, Eddie Lewandowski, Norbert Bush, Adam Krawczyk, Mike Goray. And the girls, we only had about 4 or 5 girls. Annie Kwaka, Gertrude Jarzinska, Brett Schneider, Diana Schacht, and no, Lodja Tainska. She later went into the, become a Felician nun also. So yeah, a lot of good pals. But my best buddy was Bruno Popschutzky. When I first started, Monsignor Strensky was already here, and he was a great guy. We were afraid of him, but he did a whole lot for the church and for the community. In fact, we used to have, like near Sycamore, on the other side of Cane Avenue, Sycamore, Chestnut, and Mount Vernon, we had some kind of rough guys. We call them the 40 Thieves. And Monsignor Strensky sort of straightened them out. He came, he organized baseball teams, and he even had football for a while. And lots of great athletes here from our neighborhood. And yes, I always remember Monsignor Strensky. With him was Father Hudzik, Father Winovich, Father Piankowski, Father Faber. Then after that was Krzysiak, Kordecki, Korda, Zemrowski. Zemrowski was here when my brother had his first Mass, and he was, Father Zemrowski was Master of Ceremonies. And well, down the years later on, Bucha, Samotsky, Kryszkiewicz, Father Lipinski, Father Wtorek. I also remember Father Marian Bober, who was here. Another one I forgot, Mroczkowski. He was pretty instrumental when the kids had the football team, when they had the football teams and baseball teams, when they first started their first class here at St. Joe's. And Joe Martin was the coach, and Al Litva was assisting. And yeah, they struggled, but they had a team, and was only a small class, but they did manage to have football and baseball. It was good. Stadium was Broadway and Everett Street was like a wooden fence all around it at one time, and that's where they went to play the games. And then later on, when they graduated over to Camden High, they played some games over there, Farnham Park. We played on Liberty Street. They'd fence Liberty Street off, and we'd play tag, and girls would play jump and rope, and guys would maybe play a little ball, and for half an hour we'd run, and then the bell would ring, and we'd line up and go into the school. And when I started, the sister Przełożona used to have that bell, and she would ring it, until maybe 2 years later we got like an automatic bell ringer. But yeah, Liberty Street was our playground. We didn't have, like today, different times. But we enjoyed it. It was good. We always used to go to the ball games to see the Phillies in the 30s and 40s, to the speed line, get on a number 34 bus. I don't know how much it was then, maybe 15 cents or so. Take the speed line and over to Philly, and then get on a subway, then go to the Somerset, get a trolley, and go to the games. And that was the whole day. It was good. Our life revolved around the ball. We played all games, make-up games. Baseball was the number one thing. Baseball, football. Basketball wasn't that great at that time, but we did have some real good athletes that played basketball. Ozzy Szychulski, Frankie Schwak, Adam Kasiłowski, and then later on going to Camden High was Alitva, Matt Shaletsky. He was the first guy from our neighborhood to go to Notre Dame. And yes, we had lots of good athletes, and played ball. And later on, we played ball for the Polish American Citizens Club, and they've had good teams as well as St. Joe's. But yeah, it was great. 1943, 1944, when it was the 50th anniversary, they did the repainting and everything. Fixed up the Wafki, and yes, it's pretty much the same. Like I say, the altar changed a little bit. They took the steeple off. We had Divan Balaski, and but the altar itself is the same, and all the glass windows, stained glass windows. Yeah, they were installed before I even came to school in '35, so they were already in place. And our sisters, they were good, but zero tolerance. If you said something wrong, the sister would, "Jacie pokażę," and she starts smacking you all around. And yeah, that was funny to me because I wasn't getting hit, but the guy that got hit was bad. We used to have, when I was in the 9th grade, even before that, we used to have a school here in Camden called, and I can't think of it already. Star School. And if you got too smart with the sisters, they would say, "Idźcie po Kowalskiego." Kowalski was our truant officer. And one time in the 9th grade, one of the boys, he got a little lippy with the sister. Sister Ivancha was small, but she was probably one of the toughest sisters we had. Like I say, no tolerance. She starts smacking him around. And this guy kept talking back to her. She says, "Idźcie po Kowalskiego." And Kowalski came and took him to Star School. And when he went there, you can't do that these days. They put him in a ring with a guy his size. We were in 9th grade, so what? We were 15 years old, 16. And you would box, fight with this guy. And if you would beat him, they would get somebody bigger. So Johnny Jedjic was the guy. He came back. He was all red. He said, "John, how'd you make out?" He says, "I beat the first guy, but the second guy beat the heck out of me." Like he was all red, and we're laughing. But yeah, it was It's one of the things I remember. As far as like the classes go, they were like mostly like probably half a day in Polish. We had catechism in English and Polish, Historia Polska, Biblia, and then in the afternoon mostly all English. But yeah, the sisters were all Polish and like mostly born on the other side, and they were good but tough, very tough. Don't get smart with them. The first grade was Sister Desiderata, second grade was Sister Pancratia, third grade was Sister Beatrix, fourth grade was Sister Gabriela, fifth grade again was Sister Beatrix, sixth grade was Sister Modesta. We liked her the best. She was like a sort of a tomboy sister. But like I say, don't get smart with her. Seventh grade was Sister Antonilda. That was when the war started, the Second World War. Eighth grade was Sister Celsia, the toughest one. And the ninth grade was little Sister Benicia. Ivancia. Sister Ivancia. She was a tough little guy. And yeah, that's the ninth, all 9 grades that I remember, yeah. And Sister Przewożona was Esperancia. Like in the first grade, Sister would teach the whole thing, the ABCs, English, Polish, and then you would have a little bit of history and the geography and so forth, and everything was in one class. You sat on your desk, and that was it. There was no, no moving around like they do today. Sixth grade was Sister Modesta. She was, like I say, real fun. She did tomboy, like she would play ball with us, and she was, everybody, all the nuns would teach us to sing like the different Polish songs and American songs, and but she was very, very good. In our class, we probably have about 10 guys that were in the altar boys at all times, but I was always like scared of being an altar boy, but I just can't. I thought I'd be making a mistake or something, fouling up, and I just didn't do it. I got married in 1959, and I'd come for like Christmas and Easter blessings, and sometimes novenas, Yespore. Somewhere in the 80s, about the mid-80s, Martha Kozłowska, she was big around here. She was a very saintly woman and very parish connected. And she sent out letters to all the Polish organizations in this city and and nearby to a meeting. And since then, I've been here like on a steady basis. Martha was she was a very good organizer, like I say, a very saintly woman too. And ever since then, I've been over here. We used to have to go to the Yespore or the Vespers and novenas. Celebrations we'd have like Christ the King, big processions all the time. Any big church holiday, we would have processions, like weather permitting, and we'd start around the rectory and sometimes go around the church, sometimes just come right into church. It was, yes, it was like the whole parish took place, and the church was always packed, always packed.
Come, Lord Jesus, come to my life. Come, Lord Jesus, come, fill my heart. Bring your light to my day, bring your hope to my night. Come, Lord Jesus, come to my life. Come, Lord Jesus, come to our lives. Come, Lord Jesus, come, fill our hearts. Bring your light to our days, bring your hope to our nights. Come, Lord Jesus, come to our lives. Keep me, Jesus Christ, in your love. In the storm of my life, safe and warm. Stretch your hands out to me. Please extend here your peace. Now I know that you are what I need. Keep us, Jesus Christ, in your love. In the storm of our lives, safe and warm. Stretch your hands out to